Try not to think about a red car. The red car really isn't important, and you don't need to know anything about it, so please, just try to ignore the red car. Did you already see a red car today? Do you own a red car? Oh, it doesn't matter. Just don't think about red cars for the next 20 seconds. Pretty hard, isn't it? Almost impossible. The red car can be used as a metaphor for intrusive thoughts and negative behaviours that we experience. The more you try to ignore them, the bigger they become in your mind, and the greater your need to address them. We can also use an object, like a pink elephant or a big "don't push me" button, as an analogy for how humans deal with their dissatisfaction in life and the associated negative emotions. Boredom, stress, anger, anxiety, depression, fear. The more you try to better yourself and overcome them, the more you end up thinking about them, and it feeds into a cycle. Some people argue that the reason we aren't currently happy is because we are concentrating too hard on overcoming negative thoughts. We are concentrating on the process of becoming happy, not the feeling we hope to achieve. It's like instead of getting happier, we are getting more frustrated. This is a paradox of willpower, which is the core base for the law of reversed effort. Alan Watts also refers to this as the backwards law, because the more we aspire to achieve something, be it happiness, success, love, the more we move away from it. We end up feeling more disappointed than if we hadn't tried at all. In contrast to this, you can look at friends and family who do not appear to strive for greatness and end up with what they want, whilst not feeling the constant disappointment that most of us experience. Think about our original intrusive object, the red car. When you stopped thinking so much about it, you distracted yourself with other things, the memory of the red car faded. You end up feeling less stressed about it. So, that is the solution. Instead of trying to forcefully remove the thought of the red car from your conscious, just let it fade on its own without picking at it. Right now, I'm sure you are sitting there wondering, but how do I get what I want without trying to get what I want? Well, the good news is that this video explains the paradoxical law, how it applies to your life, and most importantly, how we can be free from its clutches. So how can you get what you want without putting in the required work or effort? This seems pretty counterintuitive when we're always told that we have to put in to get out. An example of this is determination or willpower. In the physical world, you will need to have a certain amount of self-control and effort to fight for what you want. If that's money, for instance, you will need to push yourself to build a business, think of new ideas, keep reaching for those targets and goals. You tell yourself, if you do these physical things, you will be rich and happy one day. Other people will see your achievements, and you will be recognized externally as completing your journey. But the backwards law does not revolve around physical, material goals. It transcends to something more. It is there to help you achieve the next level. Some call it the Holy Grail. So what is this amazing thing? Falling in love? Unbreakable friendships? A happy family? A long, healthy life? These are stepping stones along the way, but they aren't the aim. These are all things that are external. Just like material wealth, your health, relationships with others, and a sense of belonging in society, these still rely on factors outside of your inner self. The more you chase the things that will lead you to these desires, the more they slip away from you, and negative thoughts creep in, because in the external world, achieving these social milestones can feel extremely hard, even impossible. So what do you really desire? What do you want? Are you looking for happiness? Can you tell me what happiness looks like. And how can you tell if you are truly happy? According to Alan Watts, a theologian and philosopher, we cannot reach true happiness because we do not know what we want. This is because we cannot define it. Why don't you really know what you want? 2 reasons. Number 1, you already have it. Number 2, you don't know yourself because you never can. He theorized that what we truly desire is actually masked by the act of us searching for it. A knife doesn't cut itself. A fire doesn't burn itself. Light doesn't illuminate itself. He describes how you cannot know your true purpose if you're continually looking for it. Another great quote from Alan Watts is, "The menu is not the meal." This is in relation to your journey in life. If you are always looking at the menu, trying to choose what you like best, what you really want, you will never get to the meal. And the food is the bit that's enjoyable and nourishes both your body and your soul. The human condition is one of the greatest illusions. It's almost like a mass hallucination, which tells us that by changing our current external status, we can become happy. This may be going on vacation, buying a new home, a new car, changing something about your body with makeup, hair dye or plastic surgery, even changing careers. You are conditioned by society to believe that external factors bring you happiness. As a species, we feel that we are lacking something. This is such a deep-seated belief that we try to fill the void with food, money, and love. However, the backwards law can answer this for you and even resolve your feeling of emptiness. What if I told you that you feel something is lacking because of the external factors in your life? You are so stressed trying to achieve external happiness and trying to overcome those societal hurdles to reach a goal that these actions are causing your discontent. Imagine that you have set a personal goal to become the owner of a chain of restaurants. You would love to have the profit from a lucrative business and also the acclaim for your amazing food making people happy. Okay, that's great, but it takes a lot of physical effort every single day. You will need to make external sacrifices, split your time, work day and night for years to build your empire. How often do you think you will feel happy on that journey? Will you be content every day? Or will you have to struggle and grind every day with just the occasional burst of achievement? You are so far removed from your end goal of owning an empire that your discontent and negative thoughts will undoubtedly start to become a part of everyday life. There is a strong chance that you give up your dream because you feel there is no way you can actually make it work. Best-selling author Mark Manson sets this out clearly. Pursuing something only reinforces the fact that you lack it in the first place. He also calls this the feedback loop from hell, and he's not wrong. Think about this scenario. If you set achievable goals, you will feel validated and happy more quickly and more frequently than if you continue to chase distant hopes and dreams. Even better, if you remove those expected external goals, as much as you can in a society where you are expected to exist in the material world, you will be calmer and happier. In a world without putting pressure on yourself, when you live simply and humbly, you'll be able to become your best self. There is another element at play, apart from our deep-rooted societal expectations. It's called the will to live. German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer explains that the will is actually an irrational, blind, incessant impulse without knowledge that drives instinctive behaviours. How often have you witnessed this in addiction, self-sabotage, and repeated patterns of negative behaviour? It could be in your own life, or you could watch a close friend make mistake after mistake, seemingly unable to break out of the loop due to their natural human impulses for gratification. Schopenhauer says that this causes an endless, insatiable striving in human existence. In other words, the will to live, because you feel so deeply that you need to reach your next goal, no matter if it's good or bad for you. Due to this insatiable feeling, this will, humans feel that the world cannot offer them a solution, and so they will never feel content. No matter how much food they consume, how much money they gain, or how many accolades they achieve. We cannot explain what it is that we are looking for that will satisfy us. And so, we escape into situations that are more pleasurable than our current existence, rather than trying to contemplate what it is that we truly want and need. In this way, we spend our lives constantly searching and being dissatisfied. Very much like Eastern philosophies, Schopenhauer suggests that if we remove this will, this impulse to strive, we can become calm and satisfied with our life, because we hold no expectations. Therefore, everything that happens to us can be accepted and appreciated. This relates to our video where we discussed being like water, flowing with life rather than against it. Consider this real-world situation. Everyone has felt this way at some point in their life. Let's talk about loneliness. If you actively think about how alone you are, this will become your sole focus. Just as in the example at the beginning of the video, you try to ignore that feeling, but you can't. You wonder why a friend hasn't called. You wonder when your next social engagement is. You endlessly think of small ways you can be noticed by others and engage with them. You can feel your self-worth deteriorate. Maybe you wonder, what's wrong with me? You end up wasting hours of your life feeling sad and confused. However, if you can be happy being alone with yourself and your thoughts, getting to know yourself, enjoying the peace and quiet, you will feel relaxed and contented. Then, this feeling aids you in being satisfied every day. You are pleased if a social commitment comes up, but equally, you are comfortable spending time alone. You have the best of both worlds. So, being accepting of a negative experience will be a positive experience if you learn to flow and become at peace with your inner self. Essentially, by striving to obtain something external, especially something that will not ultimately satisfy you, you're just hurting yourself. The ultimate analogy for the backwards law is muddy, cloudy water. Let's say that you visit a beautiful pond that you've been to before and you're having a picnic. Everything looks perfect, but then you notice the pond itself is cloudy. The mud has been churned up and you can't see the lovely colourful pebbles on the bottom. You're so desperate to take a photo and show your friends that you try and stir up the water to move the cloudiness away to another part of the pond. Of course, that doesn't work, and you just end up stirring up more mud. The pond represents your life. The beautiful stones on the bed represent what you desire. And the cloudy water, getting worse each time you interfere, represents your attempts to keep changing your environment. When you learn to have patience and be happy with where you are, the muddy water will settle and clear, and you will see what you ultimately desire. Learn to embrace the backwards law and be content. This does not mean that you should avoid setting goals or milestones in life or never have any ambitions. It simply means that sometimes you need to take a step back and assess what you really want, what you are really looking for. If you have enjoyed this video and you're inspired by what you've seen, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Let's change the world together.